Hello, kindred spirit, and welcome to the Lightbearer's Library. My name is Kate Harmony. In today's journal entry, I want to talk about the stories that we tell ourselves when we're in seasons of despair and failure. So as highly imaginative souls, we are very gifted storytellers. I know many of you are writing novels and stories, and I think that's beautiful. And so we're so gifted, in fact, that we can end up telling ourselves stories about life in general and our life in particular that are not true. So when we're in these seasons of despair, feeling like our lives are a failure, that we, have failed to make our dreams come true, we need to look carefully at the story that we're telling ourselves, because one story may lead us to give up on life altogether, but the other will help us to rest and recover before trying again. So I see this in my own life with myself and my husband, and the story that we've told ourselves. We're currently in this season of failure and despair and not knowing which direction to go, and everything feeling uncertain. So, one of the things that I hear when we talk to one another is sort of this sense that, so this is the dangerous story that we tell ourselves, that we should be expecting our lives to kind of be a constant trajectory upward, that we have kind of success after success after success, and maybe a tiny little failure here and there, but not like you failed on, big stuff. It's like it should just kind of go in an upward trajectory, right? Society likes those upward trajectories, nice and straight, and it's kind of like I was thinking about, it's like the romantic fairy tale stories that we watched as kids growing up, right? It's like, and then like Cinderella, right? And then they meet the prince, and they live happily ever after, the end. And there's no like bumps in the road, failures in the end. It's like now their life is an upward spiral of trajectory of happily ever after, right? And we know that that's not how it actually works in real life. So it's a romantic story, a dangerous but romantic story. And it makes us feel like those natural fluctuations in our lives, or seasonal changes are permanent failures. Like we've failed permanently to have an upward trajectory in life, and I think this is especially difficult as we get older. I'm in my early 40s. My husband's mid 40s, late 40s, mid 40s. He keeps saying I'm going on 50. I need to get things together. But as we get older, it can kind of feel like there's no more room for failure. It's like time's running out. We need to keep spiraling upwards, and it's like there's no room for failure anymore. And if we failed, then there's no more time to make up the failure. And I think the other, where it's also particularly, and I guess this ties in with being older, is that we compare ourselves, but at any point, we compare ourselves to our peers in age group, I suppose, is what I'm thinking about. So, for us, my husband's a Gen Xer, I'm an older millennial. So it's like, lots of them have had successful careers, have houses, have families, have, whatever, maybe they're even partially retired. So it can feel like when we compare ourselves to, a generation or to our friends and family or whatever, it can feel like, well, I've completely failed. Might as well just give up. So yeah, if we stop ascending that linear trajectory upwards, then we're done. We might as well give up. And because that's the story we're telling ourselves. If we don't continuously go upwards, then we might as well give up. So that's the one story. Now, I think we need what I'm calling a story remedy. And the story remedy, the one that we need to change and into, is a cyclical story that is more in tune with nature, where failure isn't the end. It's just the winter part of the cycle. And nothing blooms all year round. Okay, just go with me on this. Maybe there are parts of the world, but we're talking about seasonal ways of, plants have cycles and seasons, right? It's like there's blossoms and that turns into fruit, which is then the seeds, and that goes into the ground and then it sprouts. So there's a cyclical part. And so there's times of rest and recovery that we need to take when it's kind of winter. And we go through many of these in our lives. And I think we maybe tend to forget past failures. When I was in university, I remember there was a time when everything felt like it was so dark. I just felt like basically not being here. I had a moment that I was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to continue living. And so it felt like life was over. But because I was younger, I think I was like, this can't possibly be the end and how my life turns out. So I guess I'll just try and get through this hard part and hope for better days. and the thing is that I know that there were better days to come, because I'm now in, beyond that. And I've had lots of times in my life where, life was full of joy and blessings and abundance. Not that there's not blessings in my life currently. There's always places of gratitude and things, but it just when the current the current situation of life feels just so at odds from what we hoped, it can be, it can be hard and depressing, and we can get into a state of despair. So so I would offer that reflection to you. Have there been other times in your life when you were younger that you thought that you had failed, but you picked yourself up and continued on with a vision of, things will get better, right? And I think that's what we need to kind of hold on to. So I think we can mourn the flowers if we want to get poetic. If we can mourn the summer times, we can mourn, or we can mourn the dreams that never happened, right? Some of you have shared that, you're mourning not being married or not having kids, or, for us, there's like this mourning sense that, my husband grew up doing music. He played in bands, he taught music. His whole life was music. And this time in the world with AI and the industry going the way it is, it's like there's a mourning that's happening about where music is at. So the career, even just being able to teach music, AI is basically taking all that. So there's a mourning that's no longer available to us as it once was. Our business has declined, and so it's this mourning of that. And it's like, okay, something that was a success is now feeling, just sad and despairing, and how are we going to make an income and all the things. It's just like, okay, all right, but we can't give up. We can't give up because it's a seasonal. So there will be more flowers in the end. We have to just keep that hopefulness so that we don't just give up, right? And so that we need to start thinking and dreaming about what seeds to plant and grow next for the next cycle, right? And so it's like, what could that next cycle have for us? What opportunities are currently available to us? What skills do we have if if the career job situation is shifting and changing? It's like, what can we do? And for me right now, what's providing me hope is doing Lightbearer's Library, is showing up and cheerleading you and just sharing in the hopes that you feel not so alone. And, it's like, so for me, I'm trying to visualize what seeds I could be planting, whether it's, one-on-one cheerleading sessions, or whether it's small group, kindred spirit groups, whatever it looks like. I'm just trying to keep my eyes on the future and on the seeds that I'm planting, and not the massive disappointments and despair and all the stuff. So if this helped shift your perspective, please do give me a thumbs up. That always helps me to know that this is resonating. And if you can sense how this might shift, if you can see that you've been living in this upward trajectory, I would love to hear from you in the comments about how this change in story could help you move forward, to not give up, to be sort of dream anew, to believe that things can get better. I know with the world the way it is, it feels pretty, it can feel dark for lots of people. And if that's you, then I'm with you, but we have to believe. That's where I'm at today. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm wishing you so many blessings, and I will talk to you very soon. XOXO, Kate.